right here on the Sports Call, provided to you tonight, of course, by Ireland Contracting on the Bordas and Bordas hotline. It's 412-575-2600. Bob Pompiani, Gene Collier with you. Steelers went to Dave & Buster's today, Gene. Do you like that move by Mike Tomlin?
I'm sorry?
The Steelers went to Dave & Buster's.
Dave & Buster's?
Yeah.
To play the video games and such?
Yeah. Bonding, you know, as opposed to actually.
Sure. Probably nobody's going to get hurt over there.
How about if there was an injury? How about if someone went like skeet shooting, bowling, or something, and then?
No, this is you know, I say this every spring anyway. The Steelers lost 2 players, maybe one for the season.
Yeah, it looks like that.
In these OTAs or mini camps or whatever they're called. This is insanity to me. San Diego lost their tight end. He's out for the season. Playing, running around playing football in the spring. Bob, as I've said many times, and Plexico Burris would agree with me, the off season is for sitting on the front porch and violating the open container laws of any of several beachfront communities. It's not for
well, not the way it is now, and they want these young guys especially. But
I don't care what
agree
they
with
want.
You know, and people make a big deal out of guys like Roethlisberger and Brady and Antonio Brown now not being there. But, what are those guys going to gain at this point? For younger players, I might agree with it, but I think for veterans like that, Ovechkin just scored, so it's 5-2. That's a big goal.
5-2 caps.
5-2 caps. After Vegas had scored 2. So anyway, let's get to the lines. We'll begin with Ryan in Ambridge. Hey, Ryan, or make that Aliquippa. I'm sorry, that's a rivalry right there.
Yeah,
What's
Bob,
up,
how are you guys doing?
All right, what's up?
Good.
As I was telling your guy on the phone before I got on, me and my friends, and I agree with what one of your guys said on the Sports Call, was it last Saturday? He said that maybe we should send Gregory Polanco down for designated for assignment for 2 weeks or at least a month so that you can get him with one of the hitting coaches down there to help him get out of the funk he's in. And also in the fact, you could do the same thing with Sean Rodriguez. But the other thing I called about was take a look at Ryan Meadows and how he's hitting.
Austin.
Ryan Meadows is hitting amazingly, and he can play multiple positions. So what do you guys think about sending Polanco down for 2 weeks?
Well, first of all, you have options to consider. Number one, Sean Rodriguez has none left. You can't just – they have a lot of money invested. Thanks, Ryan, for the call. And Ryan Meadows, I know he was talking about his own name there, but it happens.
Meadows like lemon.
But, I mean, the bottom line is I think Polanco is an investment. Listen, it's up to me. I play Meadows right now every single day until he proves to me he can't play. And if Polanco, he can do that same kind of stuff up here in the cage, whatever the case may be. But they have an investment. It's a pretty big financial investment in him. And I think because of that, he'll keep around. And for now, I would do that. It seems like he's been pushed a little by Austin Meadows. Ever since he's arrived, Polanco's starting to show little signs that maybe, hey, I got to step my game up. I don't know if there's any validity to that, but why not?
Well, I don't know. I've said before, I think Polanco could or even should be sent down, but it's not as a strategy to improve his hitting. There are 2 hitting coaches right here in Pittsburgh. I don't know why you have to talk to the Indianapolis hitting coach, and he's going to make any changes. Polanco has to play better. There's no getting around it.
Now let's go to Ambridge. We have Mark. Hello, Mark. How you doing?
Hey, Bob. Welcome back. How you doing, Gene?
Good.
Hey, I got to tell you, I was at that Game 6 loss with the Penguins at the Caps, and I never been more wrong. I said, hey, look, they're tired, long seasons. Hey, Bob, that ain't why they lost. The Capitals are the better team, man. It's just their year. They're due. And I love Marc-Andre Fleury, but what can you say? It's the Capitals' year, man. They're going to win it.
And you know what? You could have argued, too, Mark, the last year they were the better team, and they were the team that everyone should be shooting for. The one thing they ran into was their own version of kryptonite, which would be the Penguins. The Penguins know how to play the Capitals, and if it wasn't for them, maybe they would have won it last year, too. They're a good hockey team, and I don't think anyone doubted that last year or the year before when that went 6 games, and that was a tough series as well. So thanks for the call. But, Gene, there's nothing to be ashamed of if you're the Penguins losing to the Capitals. That's a very good hockey team.
Absolutely not. I think the Capitals could have beaten the Penguins a number of different years when they failed to do so, and they just ran out of bad luck against the Penguins, really. The Penguins had beaten them 9 times in 10 playoff series, and the Capitals finally won. They were overdue, and I hope they win the Cup. They've waited for it a long time.
And of all the players who hasn't hasn't won one, I would think Ovechkin is top of the list, a guy who deserves one. He's won the scoring champion or the goal scoring championship 7 times in his career already. And he took a lot of the blame when Washington failed in the postseason.
Yeah.
But if you look at it, he always put up numbers. It wasn't his fault necessarily that they didn't win. They had other breakdowns. So
Sure.
he deserves it based on his body of work, and he's worked hard, and I think he's extended his game. He's now a complete player. At least he's been in these playoffs, and we haven't seen that necessarily from him. Let's go to Bob in Clearfield. Hey, Bob, how you doing?
Hi, gentlemen. Thank you for taking my call. I have to concede the fact that I believe that Sean Rodriguez's shoulder injury resulting from the car accident last year has really hampered his play out there, and it may basically be career-ending. I'd hate to say it, but I think that's happening. But, you're seeing the die has been cast as far as the National League Central goes. You should have the Cubs, Cardinals, and Brewers. They're just pulling away from the Pirates and the Reds, the same as they did last year. And now that's going to bring us to the trade deadline at the end of next month. And I think there could be a couple of surprises going there. I could see Jay Hay going. I could see.
That wouldn't be a surprise to me. I think they're going to do that. I think they're going to try to get rid of players who make a high price tag because they have people they believe in, and Kevin Newman is one of them down in the minors. So, Gene, that wouldn't surprise me at all. In fact, I would predict it would happen, and I did that at the beginning of the season.
Well, I'm not going to doubt you, Bob.
No, but I'm saying I wasn't alone. A lot of people thought so, right? You thought maybe they could have done it before the season.
Yeah, I mean, they're always looking, at the prices of these players, so that's always in play. I still think the Pirates have a chance to extend their competitiveness. I think the caller's right. It looks like these other teams are pulling away, but these next couple series, the Dodgers and the Cubs, I think are pretty big for them.
Very big. Even though the Dodgers are really beat up, they're still the Dodgers, and they get production on guys you wouldn't expect.
Yeah.
All right, we're due for a break. 412-575-2600. Call it. Back with more right after this.